Thank you, everybody, for being here for this information session on the first year abroad program to Australia, a brand new program this year that we're really excited to run for the first time. We'll do some quick introductions to get things started. My name is Scott Ozorowski. I'm the Associate Director in the Study Abroad Office, and I help manage all of the first year abroad programs. I'll have Ginger and Nate introduce themselves, and then we'll have all of you as students just say a quick hello as well.
All right. My name is Ginger Hofman. I'm an anthropologist. I'm a professor in the anthropology department. I'm also the director of the Community Service Studies minor that operates out of Stain Center. So yeah, welcome.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nate Axdorf. I'm the Associate Director of Student Employment, so I oversee all on-campus jobs. So if any of you work in on-campus positions, I help with the background work of that. I'm also an adjunct faculty in the Career and Life Design department. So thanks for joining us.
So Ginger and Nate will be the two people actually leading the program abroad to Australia. All right, so we're going to take the next 20 minutes or so, just go through a handful of slides that kind of give an overview of the coursework, the itinerary that we have planned for Australia, then just kind of go over some of the application details and cost information. And we'll have time for questions and answers at the end as well. And if you do have questions along the way, feel free to just unmute and shout something out or put something in the chat, and we'll be happy to answer. So, all right, Ginger, I'm going to let you sort of take it away for the next little bit.
All right. So, of course, this is a study abroad program that's specifically created for first year students. So everybody in the cohort will be first year students. And as you all probably know, part of the first year program is that you take a focal point course. So there are many different ones to choose from that are, regular domestic courses. And then there are a few study abroad courses. This is the first time that we're offering a first year study abroad course to Australia. And it also is the first time that we're offering a study abroad community-based service learning course for first year students. So that's really exciting. I have a little bit of experience with community-based service learning. I think I mentioned to you, I'm the director of the minor. So we're going to explore, we're going to ask some difficult questions about community, about service, about what it is. We're going to look at that through the lens of Indigenous people, both here in the United States and locally in Chicago, as well as, in Australia. We're going to travel to two cities, to Brisbane and to Melbourne. And there we will meet with a number of community-based partners and activists, and we'll study and look at what is going on with Indigenous people. How are they responding to the particular time and place in which they lived? How they're experiencing their, neo-colonial moment? How's that similar and different of Indigenous realities in the United States? So that's going to be the bulk of our coursework. All our readings are focused on indigeneity, on using cultural analysis to make sense of the lived experiences of Indigenous people. Of course, since we're going to go so far away, we're also going to have some fun. So we are, I don't want to speak for Nate, but Nate and I are about having fun, and we're also serious people. So it's a serious subject matter, but you can't go to Australia and not experience the beautiful beaches there, koalas, penguins. Actually, maybe if we're lucky, we'll see some camels, which were imported about 300 years ago from the Middle East there. So, it's going to be a very interesting tour, I feel. We're going to meet, like I said, we're going to meet with various activists and community partners, but we'll also examine Indigenous art and, and sort of experience these big cities. Melbourne is a big city. Brisbane is a little bit smaller. And that is the bulk of it that I will say, sort of the synopsis of the course. And now I'm going to give it over to Nate. Did you want to say anything more, Nate?
Yeah, sure. I can share a little bit. So my portion of the course is going to be really focused on helping all of you learn to go abroad, travel abroad, be kind of global citizens. And we may be talking a bit more about that later in the presentation. But just what is it like to go abroad and to be respectful of a new culture? So I'm excited. I've never been to Australia. I'm excited to join all of you there and to see Australia through this lens, to be able to focus on some service learning and to see Australia from the stories of some Indigenous folks who are there, as well as learning the content as we're going up to the course. So it should be a really great time, and we do hope that you complete an application and join us.
And I'll say a couple things also about the course. This is a first-year program for first-year students. Every once in a while, we do have a student who's like a sophomore who has not had a chance to take their focal point seminar class yet. And if that's the case, you can still apply to this program if you still need to do your focal point seminar. There are some majors that don't have to take a focal point seminar, specifically like some CDM students, theater, music students. For all of you, you can also still apply for this program. You'll get experiential learning credit, or you can use it toward your just open electives, but you absolutely can apply to it even if you don't need a focal point seminar. And then honor students as well don't need a focal point seminar, but honor students specifically will get honors credit as well as experiential learning credit for doing it. So we have a ton of honor students who do these first year programs. And the last thing I'll say about the course itself, it's going to meet in spring quarter Tuesdays and Thursdays, 11:20 a.m. to 12:50 p.m. So as you are making your spring quarter schedule, just make sure that you don't schedule a class at that time, because you do have to be free at that time. The class will meet twice a week for the full 10 weeks of the spring quarter. If you get accepted to the program, Study Abroad will register you in the classwork. You can't do it yourself. We'll put you in those classes, but you need to leave that space in your schedule and just make sure you don't have another class scheduled at that time. All right, now kind of getting into more of the time abroad.
All right. Like I said, the two cities, they're both situated on this beautiful ocean, right? They're both in the southern eastern part of Australia. One is a little bit further north than the other one, Brisbane is. And we will be working very closely there with our partners at Australia Catholic University. So I went there and worked with them some years ago, and they have been joining us here at DePaul in various conferences, even during, the height of the COVID pandemic. We had conferences, service learning conferences online. But in the recent past, they came in November. In fact, they came here. So we have really made really good relations with them. So they have helped us, put together a really robust program. Of course, with Scott's input and with my input, sort of, but guiding us through what can and cannot be done. And so, we have and I should say that Australian Catholic University, they have campuses in a number of different cities, like in Sydney, in Melbourne, of course, in Brisbane, of course, but in some other cities, including in Rome, Italy. So they helped us connect with a community partner that is a couple of about 100 miles or so away from Brisbane, where we're going to go, and we're going to actually do an overnight. They also helped us connect with local activists and people who will be, telling their stories to us. And our role really, and I say our because we're learning in this process as well, myself and Nate, is to be good and empathetic listeners, to be advocates against racism and oppression. And we will share some of the realities that Indigenous people are experiencing in the United States, and you will learn about that from the readings. So the readings are divided between sort of half-half. I have a good number of films built into the course. I have several speakers that are coming to the course itself. And also the readings, which are all articles, no books, but shorter pieces, half of which are about topics relating to Indigenous people in the United States, and the other half about Australian indigeneity. So that is, in short, what we're going to be doing. Okay. So here's a more detailed itinerary. So flying out is it on the 14th? I thought it was on the 15th.
I'm pretty sure it's the 14th. Pretty sure it's the 14th. So
okay.
I'll look
All
it up as we go.
So we will be there for 2 weeks, that's for sure. We're leaving either the 14th or the 15th. We're going to go to Brisbane first, and that's where we will have all the different experiences that I just mentioned. And every time that we get to a city, like so in Brisbane and then in Melbourne, we will be hosted primarily by ACU, who will tell us, a little bit the layout of the city and introduce us to a number of different people that we are going to learn from, etc. And so you'll see we'll be there for about a week, and then we'll travel to Melbourne for about a week. And accommodations are wonderful, I think. We're staying at the YMCA because we wanted to keep the travel costs down, but the YMCA looks really, really wonderful in both of these places. In Melbourne, for example, it has a rooftop deck, and it has a swimming pool, and it has all of these different things. And we are right in the center of town in both places, where we could just, take advantage of also exploring the area in off time, in free time. So that's, so like I mentioned that we're going to be doing all these other things, right? But so what I just want to include, in addition to sort of examining the natural landscape, the wildlife, and so on, we will also visit markets. There's a very famous market in Melbourne, very international market. We'll visit the courthouse. That's where we're going to meet with an activist, Indigenous activist. And so we're doing a bunch of different things. There's a Indigenous cafe in Brisbane where they have art and storytelling that we will visit as well. And so these are some of the things that are built into the program to make it vibrant and exciting and not a bored moment, but also to leave a little bit of time for you to hang and to explore on your own. And so that's what it is.
And Ginger, yes, it is June 14th that we leave. So
is it? Okay.
Yes.
I'm going to change that in the syllabus then. And back to 28th, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. So again, orientation always hosted by ACU, both in Brisbane and Melbourne. Then we're meeting with the various Indigenous organizations. Oh yes, the river cruise and dinner. I look very much forward to that. Both places are on the water, and so it will be a good time. Aboriginal art, did I mention that? Yes. And also music, Aboriginal music. So we will really enjoy that and get a fuller picture. The whole idea about study abroad is, right, we have these experiences in the classroom in the spring quarter, and we read these articles, and we have these guest speakers, etc. And then we go to the country, right? And then we see and experience with our own eyes what we've been reading and talking about and so on in class. So that's the whole idea about study abroad, and makes it very, very special. And I would say, and I'm not really objective here, but I would say that it's a very high order type of learning, experiential learning, because you're connecting academic material, right, and intellectual knowledge with firsthand knowledge and through experience. So this is what is very exciting. Like I said, in Melbourne, we meet with Indigenous elders and Parliament activists, visit to a town hall, refugee settlement organization, and also a community development agency. We will go to the park in the Koala Sanctuary and visit Penguin Island. And this is sort of a shorter list, but we will go to the market, and there will be some other things that are not listed here in both of these places. Yeah, some images of the wonderful beaches there and the wonderful wildlife. I said art and music being part of art. And for those of you who have visited Arizona, that red earth, or New Mexico is really something spectacular, and they have that there in part of the country as well. Various ceremonies that we'll see. Okay, so maybe this is something that Scott or Nate want to talk about.
I can kind of take this section. So,
Yeah.
So I know some of you have already started your applications or may have even actually submitted them already. So if you have, great. If you haven't, please make sure to get on that. The application deadline for this program is February 1st, which is coming up in about a week and a half or so. You go to the First Year Abroad Australia program page, start your application, and it's just a simple application questionnaire with a handful of questions. You complete all those and hit the submit button, and then your application is submitted. And then what's going to happen is in the next couple of weeks, for everybody who has submitted their application, Nate is going to start reaching out to all of you to schedule some brief group interviews where you'll have a chance for Ginger and Nate to meet you in small groups and learn a little bit more about you and your interests in the program and have a chance to answer questions. And that will be happening sort of at the end of January and in that first week or two of February. And then we'll let people know if they've been accepted or not to the program. We do have spots in the program for 20 students. So 20 is our maximum number. If we do have more than 20 students who apply, you may or may not get in. And if you don't get in, you may get a message that says you're on a wait list. And if that happens, you just kind of have to be patient a little bit. And over those next couple of weeks, the students who've been accepted are going to decide if they want to move forward or not to see how many spots might open up for people on the wait list. The other option, if you do get put on the wait list, is that we do have 2 other summer programs happening for First Year Abroad. So we may say, hey, you're on the wait list for the Australia program, but we have a spot open in the England program. Would you be interested in moving to that program instead? So I will work with you to try to find a good place for you. And also for most of our programs, we do have some waitlist spots that do open up. Not every student is able to move forward. They may not get the scholarship funding they had hoped or other logistical reasons. So don't despair if you get put on the wait list. We do often get people from the wait list, often multiple people who are still able to get a spot. So that's how the application process works. In terms of scholarships, we do have scholarship funding through the Study Abroad Office, special funding specifically for these first year programs. What's nice is that there is no separate application. As long as you get your application for the program in by February 1st, you'll automatically be considered for these study abroad scholarships. You don't have to do any special application. We consider your grade point average and your financial needs. So we work with the financial aid office to see what your financial need situation is, and that's how we determine the scholarship awards. The smallest scholarships are around $1,000. Some of the larger scholarships can range up to almost the full cost of the program. So some pretty generous scholarship funding. We do our best to try to give as much scholarship funding as we can to those students who need it. And you'll find out about that right after you find out about the program. So what would typically happen is sometime in mid-February, you would get an email that said, congratulations, you've been accepted to the First Year Abroad Australia program. We give you a couple of weeks to make your decision. And then like usually within a day or so, you're going to get an additional email that will then say whether or not you got a scholarship. And if you did get a scholarship, how much that's for. And so you can take that all into account as you make your decision over that next week or two and let us know if you're going to move forward or not. And if not, then you just say, no, thank you. I'm going to decline my spot. No problem. But hopefully you say yes and you move forward. So And then what happens, as I mentioned before, is that we will register you in the classwork for the program. So you don't do that yourself. There's a total of 6 credits. It's the 4-credit focal point seminar, and then an additional 2-credit class that has to do with your time abroad. So just make sure to leave space in your schedule for that. And I'll talk about that in a second on this page too. So the program fee for this program is $39.75, so just under $4,000. It is very all-inclusive. It includes your round-trip airfare from Chicago to Australia, and that includes another flight from Brisbane to Melbourne. So Chicago to Brisbane, Brisbane to Melbourne, Melbourne back to Chicago. Just the airfare alone is more than half the cost of the program. It's a pretty expensive flight to go all the way to Australia. But then on top of that, it covers all of your accommodations. It covers all of your breakfasts and 5 lunches and 4 dinners that are going to be group meals, but you'll be responsible for the other food on your own. It also covers all the activities, excursions, transportation that we do. You get international travel and health accident insurance as well. So it's very comprehensive. Really the things that you need to pay for yourself are the handful of meals that are not covered, and then just any additional personal spending money. Everything else is covered by the program fee. And like I said, those scholarships can range anywhere from $1,000 up to closer to the cost of the program fee. As I said too, you have 6 credit hours. So what you'll want to do if you don't want to pay any extra tuition is just make sure that you don't get registered in more than 18 credit hours for your spring quarter. As long as you're at 18 or less hours, you don't get charged additional tuition. So if you're going to be registering yourself in classes, either register yourself in, 8 credits or 12 credits at the most. That way, if you're in 12 credits and you get accepted to the study abroad program, then we'll register you in these 6, and that puts you at 18, where you won't have to pay any tuition overage. You can also put yourself in an additional class and just drop that beforehand. So, some students say, well, I'm gonna register in a backup class in case I don't get in. I'll register in a backup focal point seminar or something. And then when you see you've gotten into the program and you decide you want to move forward, you just drop that class so that there's room in your schedule for this. You can go over 18 credit hours in a quarter, but just know that any credits over 18 credit hours means that you have to pay extra tuition on top of your normal undergrad tuition. Whereas if you stay at 18 or less, it's your normal undergrad tuition. And then all your financial aid and everything applies normally. They just look like normal credit hours on your transcript. So really the only additional cost is that program fee that you'll be charged. So, all right. So yeah, that is kind of the general overview. We're going to take some time for questions here, but in general, the homepage, the Australia page has a lot of information on there. If you have questions about sort of the application process, cost, logistical things, you can always reach out to me. Ginger or Nate, as the leaders, can also answer questions more about the program itself and what's going to happen there, so you can reach out to them. But yeah, what questions might any of you have now that we can answer for you?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So first, that was a great presentation. I feel like I really learned a lot more about the program, which is amazing.
Great.
But I was wondering, for honors students, I sent an email to you earlier and you answered. So you said it would be like 8 credits for honors students, right? Because it's the on 102 and
No,
experiential
for
learning.
everybody in the program will be registered in 6 credits. You're going to be registered in the LSP 112 focal point seminar class, and then an additional 2-credit LSP 250 class. So it's going to be 6 credits. For honor students, you get credit for your honors 102 and your experiential learning. So you'll receive all of that, but you're registered in 6 credits in the spring quarter.
Okay, so like I guess that's something my advisor would have to help me with, is because like experiential learning, there's in the degree progress, it says that it's 4 credits. So it's only 2 for this program.
It's special. It's special for honor students. It will knock out your full 4 credits of experiential learning requirement for honor students.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, how will we be traveling from Brisbane to Melbourne? Yes, all transportation is provided by DePaul when you pay that fee. So there will be a flight between Brisbane and Melbourne. So that will be in the middle of the program. And then within the program, any transportation is covered. We may have some coach or local transportation, but then also we're going to have, I think, public transit passes that students will have that are going to be preloaded with money that you can use. Anything you do on your free time is up to you, but you will have all the program activities and all of that transportation completely covered.
It's about 2.5 hours from Brisbane to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a large continent.
Yeah, exactly. When you look at it, you're like, oh, it's just up there, but you know,
Yeah.
it would be a very long drive. So we are flying.
Yeah.
Other questions about the course, about how the program will work overseas, logistical questions?
Let me just answer Esther's,
Oh,
Stephanie's.
I saw another one that just came in. Yep.
Yeah, Stephanie's question. Yes, so we will have a number of different experts and local indigenous community leaders. We will also the folks from ACU. So it will be a lot of people that will guide us through this experience.
Australian Catholic University is our partner on this, and they're helping arrange things, and they have experts there that are coordinating and will be with us the whole time. So we're really excited that we have a great local partner that's really engaged in these Indigenous communities and doing really meaningful work there, that will sort of be shepherding us through this whole process. Yeah, one more. If you accept the program offer, will there be a deposit necessary? Basically, no. What's going to happen is it will just be billed to your student account. So you're going to see it as a charge on your student account like anything else. And once it's posted there, you'll have 30 days to pay that. You can work with DePaul Central if you need to set up like a payment plan or anything like that. But yeah, it's just going to be a bill on your account, just like any other charge. Well, if any of you have individual questions, we'll stick around. You can feel free to hang out. But thank you so much for being here. For those of you who have not submitted your applications yet, get those in as soon as possible. And we look forward to hearing from you and going from there. You'll hear more from us in the next couple of weeks.